Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Offside Show. Right with me today, I have PD Sports. How's it going, man? How are you doing this week?
Doing good. I'm glad to be here. We have a great guest with us. Can't wait to talk with him and see how it all goes. And
Gonna
yeah,
be
let's
gonna
get
be
it.
amazing. Gonna be amazing. And hello, Seth Walker. How are you this week, sir?
I am super. How about all of you? Welcome, Mr. Jason Williams, sir. If I call you sir, it's because I was in the Air Force. So I'm not trying to make you feel old. It's a respect thing.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, some people say, don't call me sir, ma'am. You make me feel old. It's a respect thing. So
Respect thing. And the man of the hour, the person that's here, former Detroit Red Wing and Stanley Cup winner, Jason Williams. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Really appreciate you doing this for us. And PD, you have the first question, right?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take the first question if you'll
Yep.
let me have it. All right. Jason, I guess my first question is just what was it like to hoist the Stanley Cup? Because I have to say that's the coolest. That's like the coolest trophy in all the four major sports, and it's not even close in my opinion. And I think it's the ultimate trophy. So, just what was it like to hoist it?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I was just very fortunate to be on an exceptional team in 2002, and to be on that team and to learn from all those great players, especially early on in my career, was it was great. It was fun going to the rink every day. I was just trying to be as like a sponge pretty much and learn as much as possible, and try to add little things here and there to my game. And being able to practice with guys like that early on in my career, I think it really helped me understand what it was like to be a professional, and just kind of how you had to carry yourself and things like that. But yeah, hoisting that Stanley Cup was a dream come true. To hoist it basically, kind of my first or second year in the league. You just kind of thought, wow, this is pretty cool, and this is going to be what it's like being in Detroit. Unfortunate I wasn't able to stick around and get a few more, but definitely it was nice to get the one for sure.
Yeah, that's the feeling though, isn't it? Like, you get that one and you're so young into it. You're like, wow, this is cool. Let's do this again. You know what I'm saying? But you think you're going to, don't you have that feeling that, it's going to happen again for us?
Yeah, for sure. You think it's going to happen each and every year. And that's the goal. Obviously, every team comes in and their goal is to win the Stanley Cup at the end of the year. And it's so hard to win.
It is.
And it's a long grind through the season. And then you got 2 months of playoffs, and the intensity and everything picks up, and you have to have guys that can step in. And for myself, being one of the Black Aces that year, was able to get into 9 games in the playoffs, played in pretty much every series except for the last one. And it was a roller coaster ride for sure.
I think it's the hardest championship to win. It really is. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, definitely. That 2 months it's a grind. And I remember seeing guys like Nick Lindstrom. I remember we were playing Carolina in the final and going into overtime. I think it was 3 overtime periods, and then Igor scored, and I think Nick played more in that one game than I played in all 9 games in the playoffs. So
he's a workhorse, wasn't he? Oh my God.
It just goes to show you like how good he was, and to be able to watch him play was tremendous. He was one of my favorite players to watch because he just never made a mistake, and he just did everything so perfect and so right, and
effortless. It looked like it was easy for him. It just looked that way.
Every team coming in to play us, I'm sure their game plan was to dump it into Nick's corner and try to physically hit him and try to get him off his game. But you couldn't do it, practicing against him, trying to finish a check. And then, when I went on to play on for a few other different teams, that was one of the things that we tried to do is, and I'm like, no, keep it out of Nick's corner because he's just going to go back in and make an
He's
easy
just
breakout
going to go
pass.
right back down the other way. All right, Seth, do you have a question for Jason?
Actually, Jason, on that note, you were talking about how you had such a veteran group of players. Who else really stuck out to you that you really learned from and that influenced you?
Obviously, Steve Yzerman was great. Brendan Shanahan. I would say Robert Lang came a little bit later and learned a lot from him. And Chris Draper was one of the guys I really looked up to as well. Like, he was just a workhorse, a core piece to that team, and everybody enjoyed, having Chris around. And I think that just his work habits, coming to the rink every day, getting his workout in, and doing all the little things to be a professional. Those are the things that he never took for granted, and he never wasted a day. Always came and tried to get better, and that's what you have to do as a professional, because there's always, there's probably 5 or 6 guys in line to take your job every single year, and for you to consistently be there year after year, you have to be on your game, and you can't take a day off. Like, you have to make sure that you're ready to practice every single day. And then, you got to make sure you're showing up for games as well.
Yeah, Draper's so intense. Is he intense that way in the locker room as well? Or he seems like he's just no. I mean, he jokes around. Everybody does. You know what I'm saying? It gets a good ribbon, I'm sure, now and then. But you know what I'm saying? He just seems like he's just Mr. like work ethic, intensity, that type of a person. Am I right on that? Or
yeah, he tried to lead by example. He'd get on guys a little bit here and there, but that's just the way he was. And he, demanded, especially being a guy that was very good on the penalty kill. Anytime the power play would, practice against the penalty kill, he was always in your ear saying, hey, if you guys aren't going to work at it, it's a privilege to be on the power play. There'll be other guys that will go on it and stuff. And he made you work hard. He definitely, tried to make sure that he was prepared and ready to work for when it came to practice, because when you work hard in practice and you do the little things, it's only going to make your teammates better. It's only going to make yourself better. So when we got into the game situations, it wasn't like a big surprise. We were ready for it. And that's what I mean. When you have good leadership, and those guys tend to take over the team and kind of bring them along. And it was great being a younger guy there, especially, early in my career, just kind of watching these guys practice every single day and how hard they did it. It wasn't just going out and getting their skates and their blades wet. They basically went out there for a purpose, and that was to get better that day. And, being able to watch, I think the Last Dance with Michael Jordan there, those types of things, like you hear about those things, but to actually live it, on a team like that, Steve Yzerman sometimes couldn't practice because of
his knee,
of his knees and things like that. So, what he did off the ice was crazy. And, he wasn't allowed to, lift super heavy weights or anything like that. But like, he would get a bike ride in, and that bike, there was like an absolute puddle underneath it. And, going out before practice, 20 minutes, 30 minutes before practice, and working on little things that he could actually work on later on in his career was, something that I always took from him. Like, getting out there early, maybe staying out there a little later, and working on your game. There's always something that you can improve on.
The thing is with that, though, it's a difference between being a professional and being a champion. You know what I mean? There's a different training regimen. There's a different outlook, and there's a different goal. So, everybody's working towards that goal and working harder. I know you've been on other teams. Did you sense a difference between the Wings organization and, say, the Blackhawks, or, you know what I'm saying? What was the difference between that Red Wing group that you were with and the other groups that you were with in the NHL?
Going to Chicago was very young. And we were not a very good team, and it was just, the owner didn't want to put the games on TV, so no one in the city really knew
wow.
who it was, and it was very, very different. It was a big time eye opener for me, because coming out of Detroit, being in Hockey Town, everybody knew who you were.
Yep.
And it was the thing about Detroit, though, which was nice, was when you come to the rink, all you had to do was worry about playing the game of hockey. There was nothing else outside of it. Like, that was kind of taken care of. In some organizations, there's a few things that you're kind of wondering about here and there, but everything in Detroit was done first class.
Wow.
It was, by far my, kind of my favorite place to play. I did play some good cities, like Chicago's a great city. They really kind of turned things around after I left there. And then,
well, it wasn't because of you.
could have been.
I don't think so, but
no, like, even in Dallas and in Pittsburgh and things like that, I enjoyed Columbus. And no, there was definitely some other organizations that were very good, but Detroit was probably by far, and maybe I'm a little bit biased because I got to win a Stanley Cup there and everything, but just the teams that we had were, it was great teams, and we just kind of gelled together as a group. It wasn't, a few people here and there, and you didn't have like groups of guys that were, kind of better friends than others. Where on Detroit, you could go and you could grab dinner with anybody. You're always welcome to go and grab dinner with a different group of guys, and it wasn't like you were putting them out by going and joining their group or anything like that. So that was always nice. And in Dallas, I remember when we would go out, Brendan Morrow would send a text message out to the entire team and say, "Hey, dinner can be at this place tonight, and if you want to come, it's on the team, and if you don't want to come, then you can do your own thing." So I thought that was kind of neat too. And just to have that option of going out and eating with the guys, and it was usually 8 to 10 guys that would probably go out, and then maybe a couple people here and there had their own plans and stuff like that. But overall, it was a lot of good experiences.
Hey, PD, you got another question?
Yeah, I actually want to ask about. So you mentioned about how there's always someone behind you ready to take your spot or something like that. I guess I don't know how to word it correctly, but I don't know. I guess what's the intensity like in the NHL, knowing that you can never take a day off? You know that if you don't work hard, someone's going to come in and take your job. I don't know. I guess what's the grind like, I guess, is my question. I can't think of how better way to word it, but
yeah, it's probably like physically, it's not that demanding where like you're coming in and you're basically, I would say that that there's other guys in line trying to take that job. It's more of a mental thing than anything, is just trying to mentally prepare yourself every single day and be the best you. You don't try to be someone else that you're not. Don't try to be a player that you're not. Be the best person and the best player that you can be. And, hopefully that, your work ethic and your skill level and things like that will keep you around, and you'll be able to find jobs and opportunity. The biggest thing, and I think that was, it's kind of followed me in my entire career, was being a Stanley Cup champion. If anybody ever writes an article about me or talks about me, the first thing that they say is he was a Stanley Cup champion, and teams always want winners. So for any young players that are out there and they're worried about how many goals they're going to score, how many points they're going to get, that doesn't matter. And it took me a while to kind of realize that. But when I look back now, people were like, well, what was your best NHL year? And how many points did you have? And things like that. And to tell you the truth, I don't know exactly how many points I had, but I think it was 50 something and 20 some odd goals. But that, for me, that year, because we never won, I remember parts of it, but in 2002, I remember everything that happened that year, because we won. And those are the things I think that, that helped me continue to get job in different spots and in different places around the world. But those are the things that you have to, it's a mental grind. You have to basically mentally be focused each and every day, because when you're starting to kind of tail off, like I say, there's some young kid that's hungry, wants to make an impression, wants to get that spot, wants to earn that, NHL money and, start their career. You have to be ready and you have to be focused. And I think it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Seth, your turn. Well, what question did you have for Jason?
Well, real quick, sir, it's real interesting that you mentioned about being a Stanley Cup champion, mattering more than anything else. Because I remember as a young kid, as a young Detroit Lions fan, when we signed punter John Jett, the former Dallas Cowboy. I know he was a punter, but he was like, oh my gosh, he was on the Cowboys, a Super Bowl team. Maybe some of that Super Bowl magic will rub off on us. But
I don't think it's like that. But,
yeah. But anyway,
I don't know.
But in all seriousness, though, I'm going to combine a few questions here. I know you were in a whole lot of spots, even like you said, Chicago, Atlanta, but also even Cincinnati, Grand Rapids, and even in Europe. But wherever you're at, players have to eat. So, what are some of your favorite dining spots?
I was pretty much, I'm a fan of everything, really. Like, there's not much that I won't try. I did become more of a sushi fan as I got older. I think going to Dallas, they had a restaurant that was connected to the hotel. It's called Nobu, and it's a very, very high-end sushi place, and I think it was Matthew Schneider that kind of introduced it to a lot of our guys, because he lived in LA in the summertime. So he was like this kind of Robert De Niro, I think, is part owner of this restaurant chain, and he Matthew Schneider took us out and said, okay, hey, listen guys, I'm gonna order for you, and don't worry about the menu. I'll kind of order and get the good things and stuff like that. So I remember him doing that and the food being absolutely amazing. And it was like, it just kind of like turned my eyes, and I was just like, wow, like this is crazy how good this food was. But like, just the other steakhouses and Italian places and Mexican places that we would go to, it was awesome. Like the food, we would find like there was a dive spot in San Jose that was unbelievable. And they would make these like big drinks and stuff like that were kind of neat too. And you have like the beer in kind of like the glass and all that kind of stuff. Like I think it's something Bull, Red Bull, or Raging Bull or something like that. It was some kind of drink, and it was a lot. Like it was great, great food. And then in the minors, when you go into smaller cities and even in Europe, like just finding these little kind of like quiet spots, that was kind of the thing. Like, you could find a quiet spot, the little Italian joint that was, fantastic food, could have been family owned or something like that. And not many people know a whole lot about it, but I remember a place in Switzerland that was up in the mountains, and they used to like cook your steaks and things like that, like right in the restaurant, like in a like open fire kind of like grill right in the middle of the restaurant. And it was something I've never experienced before, and that was kind of neat. And I think just going to all these different spots is something that was kind of always intriguing, and I think is when you became one of the older players and trying to set up dinner spots and things like that, you're trying to find kind of these different spots to take the guys out and have a good meal and just kind of enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, I have to ask this before you go. Hockey players are legendary ribbers. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, or initiation type thing. When you were coming up, who was the biggest ribber in your locker room? Who was the guy that was the prankster, the guy that would hide your stuff, and just do crazy stuff?
That's a pretty good question. I think like Draper would do it a little bit.
Drapes, yeah.
Maltby the odd time. Osgood was
Oh
a
yeah,
pretty good
Ozzy, I bet.
He used to get guys riled up a little bit and things like that. But in Detroit, it was actually like there wasn't too much razzing or things like that. Like I think guys just really got along and enjoyed each other's company, and it wasn't like like there was a few pranks here and there, but nothing crazy, nothing to really write home about or anything like that. So nothing that anyway comes to mind.
I don't know. I had to ask just because of locker room stories are fun. Sometimes just depends. Who do you think in your time there was the most underrated player on that 2002 team?
Ooh, underrated player.
Yeah.
Trying to think, like all of them were so good.
I know, that's what I'm thinking, but I was like, there's got to be somebody there that didn't get the credit that they might have deserved.
I would maybe say Thomas Holmstrom.
Yeah, it's a good question. Good answer.
Like he just kind of did his thing, and he wasn't a guy that, he wasn't a guy that was going to get you a ton of points, but he was so valuable on the power play.
Yep.
And being in front of the net, he took an abuse, and just to see the things that he would take, and getting hit with shots here and there, and the goaltender sticking them and things like that. Like that was his thing, and he just loved doing it, and he did it every day in practice. And I think he was, by far for probably 10 years or more, the best net front guy that the NHL had, because he was so good at getting a stick or, getting his body in front of the goaltender. So it was hard for him to see. And, his fellow countryman, Nick Lindstrom, blasting them from the point. Like if you knew that Nick was if you could get a stick out and just hold it out there, Nick would probably hit it if he could see it. So, I think Holmstrom probably could have gotten a little bit more credit than what he deserved, but he was a guy that was, guys kind of teased him a bit because of his English and things like that. He was over for quite a long time, and Nick was kind of so fluent and so perfect. And then you got Thomas Holmstrom that was completely the opposite.
So did they speak Swedish? Did they speak Swedish then?
To each other?
Yeah.
To each other they would. And then, Thomas Holmstrom would speak English majority of times, but it was very, very broken. Where Nick, it was like he didn't even have an accent. So
right. I remember the interviews.
Yeah. So players used to get on Thomas Holmstrom a little bit because he'd been over in the US for such a long time, and he still had such a thick accent. And we would go to rookie parties, and they'd make him say a speech because they just wanted to hear him talk and things like that. So that was always pretty good.
That's great stuff, man. Thank you. Okay, we got about 6 minutes with you left. PD, do you have another question?
I actually do. If we got time. You got time for this, Jason?
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, yeah. We got 6 minutes.
All right. I guess my question is so you played Scotty Bowman. I guess my question is, what was the best piece of advice that Scotty Bowman gave you, be it X's and O's or be it something else? What was if there's any one thing you would take away from your time with Scotty Bowman, what would it be, I guess, is my question.
The thing with Scotty is you just never knew what he was thinking. He didn't have it wasn't like a player's coach relationship type thing where, he'd come up to you and ask you how you were and how your family was and things like that. He was kind of just, some days he'd just say hi to you, and some days he'd just walk by you like you weren't even there. And I think he just kind of kept players on his on their toes, and not knowing what he was thinking. And I thought he was very good with his matchups and who he had out against the opposing team. And we had the players to kind of do the X's and O's and things like that, and he provided some of that guidance. But I think by giving a lot of the players, especially the players that we had, giving them that freedom to kind of go and make mistakes, and he never really was a screamer, never got on guys that much. But I think the players were just like, you never knew what he was thinking, and you didn't know if you were playing well. And it kind of kept you on your toes, and it just kind of made you strive to be better and better and better every single day. And, those are a couple of things that I thought that he was very good at being able to manage such a talented group and being able to get the minutes that guys needed and get those guys their opportunity to get, their goals. And sometimes, players like Brett Hull or Luc Robitaille or Shanahan and Yzerman and Fedorov, the list goes on players that want to produce and want to get points and be effective players. But finding ways to get those guys their ice time, I think was difficult at times, because we had such, our fourth line was Luc Robitaille, Thomas Holmstrom, and Igor Larionov.
Wow.
Can you imagine that being your fourth line?
Wow.
Going you could match up against any other team's top lines. It doesn't matter. Those guys are still going to be able to do the job. So I think, managing people and managing their time on the ice, those were the big key things that he was very, very, very good at. And I think, again, just kind of keeping players on their toes, keeping them honest and holding them accountable. You hear a lot of people talk about accountability. And I think that's one of the things that he was very, very good at, is holding everyone accountable. It didn't matter who you were. If you didn't have it that night, then he was going to find someone that did. And, it wasn't, where you were going to get into the doghouse. The next day was a new day, and you started all over again. And I think that's, again, he was very, very good at managing people. And, I thought he did a very, very good job. And obviously the short time that I was there, it was an honor to play for him. And, he never said too much to me. So I was hoping that I was always hoping that I was doing the right things. And I think that the biggest compliment that he would have given me was just kind of putting me in different situations that I probably might not have seen with someone else, because he just felt like he had a gut feeling that I had it going that night. And he's like, I got to get this guy on the ice.
That's just that's Scotty. You know what I'm saying? The management skill that, and to manage all those players. But I want to switch gears because we don't got much time left. What are you up to now, and what's the future for Jason Williams?
Right now, I pretty much I have my own hockey program. It's called PhD Hockey Essentials, and what I do is I work with the young athletes in around the area on their skating and their puck handling skills and shooting, and just kind of have small groups and work with the minor hockey players in around the area in London here. I also coach. The last
awesome.
2 years, I've coached. I took a team from Major Bantam to their minor midget year, which is kind of technically their draft year. So
yeah,
it was a AAA team, and we would play teams like Little Caesars and CompuWare and things like that. And the last couple of years have been really fun, and learning the other side of the game of being a coach. And I've really, really enjoyed it. We had two very, very good teams last year. Well, we won back-to-back Alliance championships, so being the best team in around this area. And we obviously, things got cut short last year because of COVID. Yeah. But we ended up having 9 players drafted into the OHL.
Oh, awesome!
Which is a pretty high number. I think Honeybake one of the teams in Detroit there. They were the top team for our age group. They had 12 players drafted into the OHL, but they had a fantastic team. They had a really, really good core group of guys and some really good high-end talent on their team. But for us to have 9 players drafted, I think was, it was very good. I think going into the year, my coaching staff and we felt that if we had 5 or 6 players drafted, that would be a successful year. Obviously, we wanted to win a championship again, and we were able to do that. And I think because we won, we were able to, have a few more players drafted, and it was great. And it's going to be nice to kind of watch and see where some of these kids end up in the future. I'm really excited to kind of see them kind of progress. And then now this year, I moved on to coaching junior B, so it's just a little bit higher. It's a step down from the OHL, but trying doing the junior thing as a head coach, and we just got word that our season will start December 2nd. I think a lot of teams and the leagues and around here, that's kind of like the OHL is supposed to start on December 1st, and so a lot of the junior leagues in and around this area are starting in that December 1st, December 2nd time, shortening the season by I think 10 games. So it'll be interesting to try to keep the team ready for that first game, pretty much, because you're going to have September, October, and November to practice, and you're not going to really have any type of games. So you're going to have a kind of a long training camp. And I think the biggest thing for our coaching staff moving forward is going to keep the players interested in coming to the rink not every single day, twice a week or 3 times a week, to make sure that they're ready for practice and keeping their interest in. And because the kids, they all want to play the games and things like that. But, we're in a situation where that's not going to be possible until December. So, trying to make the best of our practices and the best of our opportunity to get better in the next couple months will be hard to do, but I think with the staff that I have, we'll be able to manage it.
It sounds good. We got you over 32 minutes, so I wanted to make sure that you got out on time. I know you have things to do today, and I appreciate you spending the time with us. Just appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you doing this for us. So thank you very much. If you wanted to say anything to all the fans out there before you go ahead, and then we'll get you out of here. Okay?
Well, I just love to say hello and just make sure everybody stays safe, and look forward to getting down to Little Caesars Arena and seeing some familiar faces and hopefully seeing the fans again soon. But yeah, just everybody stay safe and enjoy the rest of the summer, and look forward to seeing everyone again.
Thank you so much for doing this, Jason, and we really appreciate you, and hope to have you on again sometime. That would be great. But,
yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck on your coaching this year too, and good luck on that coaching career. It looks like you're going up. So Red Wings may need a coach so sooner or later, so you never know. Got to put that out there, right?
You never know. You never know.
Never know. All right. Well, we'll see you. Have a good day.
All right. Take care, guys.
You too.
Yeah, you too.
All right. That was Jason Williams from the Detroit Red Wings, former Stanley Cup champion. Guys, what did you think?
Dude, that was pretty awesome, actually. Like, he's so smooth. He's really humble.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what to say. He's just so smooth, and is everything I wanted. Honestly, I had really good expectations, and it exceeded my already high expectations. So
yeah, he seems like such a good dude, and doing so much for the kids and things, coaching them up, and I just, for me, what I took away from the whole conversation just was how special it was in Detroit compared to other places, because it just seemed to me the work ethic was there, and the mentality was so different from that team where it was from other teams. Seth, what was your takeaway from the conversation with Jason?
Yeah, I thought, very humble, down to earth guy. I really liked how he described Holmstrom, because you grew up watching Red Wing hockey, and you see Holmstrom, and he's exactly the way Williams described him. And I even met him one time at a sports fest in Novi one time, and he seemed like that kind of like that goofball that you can't help but love.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like Jason described him perfectly on to the T. And even he was described as a guy who maybe didn't get a lot of points, but there were a few years where he did pretty well, like when he played Zetterberg and Datsuk on the top line. He was a 30-goal scorer. And then even in his second year, during the playoffs, he was really good offensively on Yzerman's line. Got a whole bunch of points that year. I even remember, I think he was game 3 in the Stanley Cup Finals where he knocked in a rebound off of Yzerman's original shot. So I was like, oh, yeah, you go, Holmstrom. You're having a real good year. Yeah. So.
And I know we didn't get to people in the chat. And usually we'll run down who's in the chat and we'll talk to the people in the chat. But this was a special day. And so I just wanted to say that because I'm putting up some of the comments now that I didn't put up before. And the reason I did that because Jason Williams was the star of the show. And so I didn't want to take away from that portion of the interview. But hey, what's up, Drew? What's up, Pistons Talk? What's up, Luke G? CA3 Sports in the building. Malik Mills in the building. Everybody, we really appreciate you. You can call me Funk. Let's go 29. There we go. And then any right-handed winger automatically finds a soft spot in my heart. Jason had to do other things today, so we only had the 30 minutes with him. I think we'll get him on again to have a little bit longer conversation. But if you guys have any questions for us at this point in the chat, then we'll take those. And then we're just going to go over some of that 2002 team. He mentioned third line with Luke Robitaille, and it just, man, amazing line, right? Could be a first line for most teams that year, but a fourth line for the Red Wings. Just how deep that team was and how good that team was. And then Scotty let them just do what they do, instead of trying to do different, you know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to mismanage or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and stuff, where people try to get their hands in it too much. You know what I mean? He seemed like he was kind of more the, you know what, this is what I expect. You guys know what to do, and that's the way that kind of went. What do you see, Seth?
Yeah. I was kind of listening to what you're saying. What was the actual question again?
Oh, the question was, what do you see about how Scotty Bowman and how he treated that team?
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, again, I felt like from what I saw as a fan, it was, matched up from what Jason Williams said perfectly to where he's like that manager, kind of like Phil Jackson, because Phil Jackson wasn't an X's and O's kind of guy. He let his assistant handle that. He was more about bandaging the players and the egos, you could say. With Scotty, it was a lot of the same deal. Obviously, both guys were very successful at different spots, won a bunch load of championships. You don't win championships in different spots without knowing how to manage people, manage players, manage egos, manage playing time, ice time in this case. So, he seemed like the ideal guy to be able to just be able to strategize and know who to put out there at the right time, not necessarily an X's and O's guy, but just for situations. Mike Keenan, who they call Iron Mike, he idolized Bowman. He tried, tried to model himself after Bowman. He got a lot more negative press, but he got results too, to a strong degree for a long time. Didn't win as many cups. So the way I look at it, you can't beat the master, and Scotty was the master. So.
He was the master. PD, what do you think about Scotty Bowman?
He is a great coach, and I mean the way Jason described him, he talked about things I honestly wasn't expecting him to talk about necessarily, like things that I may have never necessarily thought about, like all the managing the things, like the way he said, he always kept you on your toes, and you never really knew what he was thinking. You never knew how he felt. Like, you're like, am I doing good? Am I screwing up? I don't know, man.
But that keeps you, that does, man. It keeps you on your toes, because if you have a boss, then they just look at you funny. And they always just say hi or what your assignment is for the day. They're never like positive or negative towards you, really. You're like, am I doing everything okay?
I know.
Oh, wow.
I liked the way that Jason described Scotty Bowman. I mean, it's like, wow, I don't even know what to say. It was cool. I thought that was he's obviously great. I don't know what can be said about Scotty Bowman that hasn't already been said. Great coach, got us over the top when we desperately needed to, and I don't know what else to really say other than that.
Yeah, Hook Cam's in the building. What's up, Hook Cam? You can call me Funk. What up, boys? I have to go back. Jason had to leave in 30 minutes, and I told him I would get him out, and I did, because he is gracious enough to be with us today, so I wanted to respect his time, and so that's what happened there. But good to see you, Hook Cam. Good to see you, and you can call me Funk. We'll have the replay up. It's on my channel, so if you want to just go there and rewatch, then we can do that. But it was so cool because he did go into kind of the differences between the organizations, especially Chicago, where Chicago was just down, and it wasn't a real good situation. I don't think he wanted to talk down about them, but but it's just something that the Red Wings organization was a first-class organization, and you don't hear that from Detroit sports. You don't hear it about the Lions. You don't hear it. I mean, I don't know about the Pistons so much, but I know you don't hear it about the Lions, and it's good to hear from a former player that this was a first-class organization. There's things there you didn't have to worry about anything in Detroit, he said. Such good things about our sports town, because lately we haven't found too much good being said about our sports teams and how they treat players. So that was refreshing to hear that he said that. I was really, really happy about that, because it shows you what a first-class organization is like, And so what do you think about that? What do you think about the Red Wings being a first-class organization? And can the other teams in our Detroit area take notes? What do you think about that, Seth?
Well, first off, I remember thinking back to that 0-2 Cup team. I remember various players. Luke Robitaille in particular sticks out to me, because I remember he was one of the players that came to the team the previous offseason as a free agent. He said he called the Red Wings a world-class organization, and he talked about how Detroit was the place where all of the free agents wanted to come to. You don't hear about that with the Pistons, the Lions, or the Tigers, even though with the Tigers, a couple of guys took a chance, like Putz Rodriguez. But you don't really see here Detroit being a top-level destination for free agents. So this isn't to say that the Lions aren't a world-class organization, because players talk about the Fords treating them well, and the Pistons talk about how Bill Davidson treated them well. And I think he had a good handle on his organization. He would stand back and let his GM run the team, but if they didn't do the job, if they didn't get the job done after so many years, he would go ahead, pull the trigger, and find someone else that could, unlike William Clay Ford Sr.
That's so true. That is so true. I want to get to some comments just a second. 313 JMO, what's up? Thank you for being in the building with me, man. He said the Tigers are doing pretty well, and then he said the Tigers' first overall pick looks amazing. Let me do this because I know this is a hockey show, but man, Casey Mize, holy cow, did he look good. Even Chicago's killing the ball right now, but that guy's stuff is nasty. He is going to have a very good major league tenure in Detroit. I think he's going to be a starting pitcher for a long time to come. I do. Sorry. I've just been watching that, and I wanted to answer that question or address that real quick. But what do you think, PD, about the Red Wings organization versus the other organizations? It seems like the Red Wings are a first-class organization, whereas the Lions, and let me just go with the Lions, because there's been so many people that come out after they were here and say that this is a bad organization. Do you think that it's really that different between the Red Wings and the Lions, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, I do believe it's that different. I have no doubt it's that different between, at least lately. But oh man, sorry. But I mean, the Red Wings history, it speaks for itself. I mean, the players they bring in, they speak, or at least the players they brought in, they haven't brought in any like superstars lately. But like the history speaks for itself. I mean, the way it was ran, it speaks for itself. The results speak for themselves. I mean, yeah, the Red Wings are absolutely a first-class organization. So what's your question about the Lions?
The question is basically that the Red Wings have such a, I don't know, it's like everybody respects them. It's hockey town. It's, a first-class organization. And the Lions are not such a first-class organization. What are the big differences, I think, is what I'm asking.
It's a good question. I mean, honestly, I think with the Red Wings, I think it was just more they got the right players. That's the biggest thing. They got the right players. The Lions lately have not always gotten the right players. They've gotten a couple right players, but they've had a lot of misses as well. I guess the Red Wings just got players that needed to do the job. Like, I think about that scene in Miracle where, like, man, I'm not looking for the best players, Jimmy. I'm looking for the right ones.
Yep.
I think the Red Wings they did get the best players. They didn't just get the best players, they also got the right ones. And them being the best players just was the cherry on top. I think you can call me Funk has hit it right on the head. He said Illich versus Ford. And I'm going to explain it because, that's all he says, but I understand it. So when Jason Williams was talking today, he was talking about how he was treated in Detroit by ownership. They took care of everything. That's what he said. Now in the Lions situation, they're trying to get money back from Calvin Johnson. They're suing people and leaving a bad taste in people's mouth. It is the way the ownership runs the organization, and the organization goes above and beyond, to help players and do things for them that other teams won't do. He mentioned Chicago. He mentioned other teams, and he said, Detroit took care of everything for me and for the players. Other teams didn't do that. You would have to worry about this and that and the other. And that is the huge difference between that franchise and the Lions, in my opinion. Hookcam says cornerstone players. I think the Red Wings come to mind. You can name 5 to 10 legend. Lions is much less, plus a ton of turnover coaching wise. Again, that goes to ownership. I believe it does. And so with Martha handing it down, I think Sheila and I know Luke believes this that Sheila's going to bring us a championship. Let's hope so. Let's hope that but you know what? They have to change their ways. As an organization, they have to change their ways. They have to take care of their players and go above and beyond. You know what I mean? They have to, be an organization, it's a stand-up organization that stands behind their players. Look at this here. You can call me Funk. Illich family handled everything for Konstantinov when he got injured, that accident. That's the difference. That's the difference between a first-class organization. Rodney Peete left the Detroit Lions and went to the Dallas Cowboys, and he said his quote was, "I just went from the outhouse to the penthouse."
Yikes!
That is a damning statement.
Yeah.
On your organization. So I don't want to talk too much Lions here, but I think that's that on that question.
You really touched on something though, Jim, because I remember like growing up, you would see guys playing for the Lions and then they would become Pro Bowlers elsewhere, like Ryan McNeil. But then it was the other way around with the Red Wings, to where certain players would have their best years in Detroit, and then after that they would be like,
Yep.
Like a real good example of that is Paul Isabart, who
oh yeah, I remember him.
Really good years with the Red Wings, 34 and 35 goals, and then they traded him to the Jets, and he was never the same player after that, whether it was with the Jets, the Blackhawks, the Lightning. Now, I know a lot of that had to do with him playing on the line with Yzerman, but still, 34 and 35 goals, even back during the early 90s where it was higher scoring, that's pretty freaking good, for most players. So, so guys like that who had their best years in Detroit or even with Shanahan, even though he had his 250-goal years in St. Louis, he had his best years outside of St. Louis in Detroit.
Yep.
He was decent in Hartford that 1 year. That was just 1 year, but he had his highest goal total outside of St. Louis in Detroit, 47 goals for a season. So I guess a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Red Wings are such a reputable world-class organization that people, they come here, they want to come here, they feel proud wearing that winged wheel. And
that is the case.
Pride.
That is it right there. And that's what Luke is saying too. Luke G says ownership has to make a player feel like he matters. And I think that's the key, because in the Red Wings organization, how many free agents just wanted to come to Detroit? They knew they were going to win here. They knew, but also I think they knew they were going to be taken care of here. What's up, OMG? How's it going, man? So I think that's part of that too. And when Jason Williams said, they took care of everything for us, so all they had to concentrate on is hockey. Is our other teams doing that? Does our other teams make players feel like they matter? And I think it's a big, big issue. It's a lot bigger than what people think it is, to when you have a player and do I want to come to this team or do I want to come to this other team? In free agency, that makes a huge difference. It really does. And the Red Wings over the years, and not so much lately, but over the years, have had players want to be here. Luke Robitaille. He mentioned Lang. I had forgotten about him, Robert Lang. Good centerman, good guy. And this is the thing. Those people wanted to come here. Some of them were traded for, some of them were free agents, but they still loved it here. They go on about, how good it was to play in Detroit. So I think that's something that we have to build back, but that is an organizational issue. And I'm hoping that Yzerman and the front office and all that and the Illiches and things will, they'll step it up again and start becoming that organization that we used to be. I don't think we're there anymore. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think the Red Wings are still that hockey town and that first-class organization, or do you think we've missed a step?
I think we're not what we.
Well, I think.
I'm sorry. We're not what we were during the 2000s. We have to be honest.
Yeah,
we're not that. Oh, what's the word? But we're not that team that everyone wants to just come to at this immediate moment. We have to get back to it.
Yes,
it's a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight, of course. But no, this isn't the team from the 2000s. Like we gotta be honest with ourselves. It's not.
It's not. What do you think, Seth? Either Seth is really still or he's frozen. I think he can keep that pose all day. I'm just kidding. What do you think about that, Seth? About the organization? Do you think we're there, or do you think we've had a misstep here and went backwards?
Well, I think I've alluded to this in the past. Go back to 2012. 2012, I believe. That was the offseason when the Red Wings were trying to get both Zach Parise and
yes,
was it Ryan Suter?
Yep.
And the Wings were trying to get both guys. We were so sure that we were going to get them. Chris Chelios was, putting in his pitch for them to come to Detroit. We were all so sure they were going to come. Yeah, come to Detroit. They're coming. And then to see both guys go to the Wild, it was like completely deflating. And at the time, I was at Oakland University using my GI Bill to go to school for free.
Hey, there you go.
And I was in the sports broadcasting class with taught by the one and only Mark Champion.
Oh,
and,
wow.
We had a lot of guests that came to the class. One of them being Eli Zaret, a former sportscaster for, I believe, Channel 4 way back in the day in the 80s, I believe. And he was going over with us about, news stories. And one of them was the Red Wings. And he, posed the question, have the Red Wings lost a step? Are they no longer that free agent destination now that they weren't able to get Parise and Suter, whereas 11 years earlier, they were able to get Robitaille and Hall so easily. So I thought even then the writing was kind of on the wall to where the Wings were starting to slip a little bit, but maybe not so obvious, but a small crack in the armor to where, they could be like, oh, let's just patch that up and maybe no one will notice. We're still good. Keep the streak going.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It was just a streak and nothing else for a while. We've almost been on an hour. It's generally how long our shows go. Has anybody got anything for us in the chat? We'll give you a few minutes, but we're going to give our final thoughts here in a little bit. If there's no questions, pretty soon we're just going to wrap things up. And next week we're going to have another guest, and I'll give you that information because it's secret right now. I can't tell you. I can't even tell these guys. No, I'm kidding. We have some guests lined up for the next few weeks, and hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. So look forward to that. We'll be making announcements on those as soon as we can. So the salary cap and lack of superstars being drafted ruined the Red Wings as a destination. Yep, I agree with that. You can call me Funk. I do. I think that the allure of the Red Wings was it's a first-class organization. That's the one thing, but you are almost guaranteed to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, or you're going to make a long run in the playoffs. So any team that has that chance and you think that you can add to that, yes, exactly. That's exactly what they wanted to do. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Seth, final thoughts for today.
Well, it was a pleasure being able to spend some time with Jason Williams, ask him a few questions. He seemed like a very gracious guy. Appreciate him. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and he'll spread the word to other contacts. And please, everyone, come back tomorrow with our yet to be announced secret guest. But as soon as at the appropriate time, I will be able to post on Facebook and Twitter and advertise to everyone, to all the millions and millions of the Seths fans. Yes, full disclosure, I'm a big fan of The Rock. I will let everyone know that information about who's going to be on the show, and I will advertise. But please tune in next week, same time, same place. You heard it from me, Seth Walker.
PD, what are your final thoughts for today?
Well, thanks everybody for coming on as always. Dude, I don't know why my throat is just weird.
Oh, you're good.
Good. Thanks everyone for coming on as always. Thank you to Jason for coming on, spending some time with us. He was very, very insightful towards us, and we all appreciate his insightfulness for us. It was really awesome getting to hear his takes and whatnot. But yeah, thank you all for coming out, and we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, I really appreciate Jason coming on and spending some time with us. Hopefully we'll get him back on in the future to get in a little more in depth and stuff, because there was a couple things I still wanted to ask him. Don't forget, tonight at 8:00 on Detroit Drew's channel, it is Above the Rim. Talking all Pistons talk and getting that 7th pick in the draft. Oof. Crushing blow, guys. But we appreciate each and every one of you in the chat. Each and every one of you that are listening back or watching back to see the show. Appreciate you. We are here every week at 3 p.m. Saturdays, every single week. Same time, same channel. We'll have different guests, a bunch of surprises, and some different stuff going on. So check us out every single week. And with that, we're out.